Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Coffee with the Critters. Sorry, I'm joining just a couple minutes late. That's because um, I had to find an outlet. My computer ran out of juice, and then I wasn't going to start until I got all my photos uploaded. And those are notifications coming in and from people saying, "Are you still having coffee with the critters this morning?" So that lets me know that we have some very dedicated viewers, which is not surprising. And I want to say thank you and good morning, Bobby. Hi, Eva. Good morning, everybody. Happy November. I saw in the forecast we're expecting snow today. Yay. Hey, Maggie, over there in Chicago. So for those that may be new, my name is Laura Joseph. I'm owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We're an international educational center teaching and empowering people all over the world, empowering animals all over the world, and the people that care for them. And we do that through our live streaming services, which you can find on our website, which is the animalbehaviorcenter.com. Good morning, Darlene, Beth, Sheila, Lisa, Julie, Daniela, Stacy. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee with the Critters, where we live stream every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, unless otherwise noted. The past 2 weeks, we've had guests on. I have another guest scheduled in the month of November, which is going to bring something extremely unique to Coffee with the Critters. But 2 weeks ago, we had professional dog trainer Diane Garrett. Last week, we had the awesome Warren Carlisle from Octo Nation, and I just watched my octopus teacher last night, and it was nothing short of fabulous. So, as I was saying, if you, for those that may be new, my name is Laura Joseph, and I'm a professional animal trainer and behavior consultant. I like to I don't focus on species, I focus on behavior, no matter what the species. A lot of times you can tell me a problem you're having, and I'll just say, don't even tell me what the species is. So that may really surprise some people, but that is the power and education in applied behavior analysis. Identifying reinforcers, using environmental events to control behavior, versus having to use force or coercion to control behavior. When we use force, when people use force or coercion, it's just because they don't know any better. Will I use force or coercion? Sure. If my alternative of not using it is worse. And usually that only happens in times of a serious accident is going to happen, because animals are always learning. We are always learning. And we learn through experimenting with our environment and rearranging events in our environment to get consequences that we want. And no behavior happens there. Behavior doesn't happen for no reason. Every behavior happens for a reason. Which brings us to our topic, keeping your animals used to change, which is extremely important and something I always tell people. Keep your animals used to change, because if you do not keep them used to, I see it every day. I see it every single day. If you don't keep animals used to change, that means they're living in stagnant environments. They're not learning from new things in their environment. And once change is introduced to their environment, then you see things like behaviors labeled as aggressive. Most aggressive behaviors come from fear. We can prevent animals from being fearful through keeping them used to change. And there's a lot of different ways to keep your animals used to change. Good morning, Susie, Adrian, Sylvia, Nancy Forrester down there in Key West. I'm still thinking about coming down and seeing you. I got time. So we got Karen on here, our manager. Great. Just a couple things before we really dive deep into this topic. Yeah, I need to update my events because Karen, will you remind me? update events on Facebook because events are happening, and you will see them. You should see them here on our Facebook page under events or under our website under events. A couple different things that are, oh, we have been sending out newsletters. Okay. Are you getting them? If not, it's because we haven't sent one out to the public yet. We're sending them out to people in our projects, in our memberships, which you can find out more about those online at the Animal Behavior Center. But we're getting ready to get our, I just had so much to do that I have been slacking on my email newsletters, but stay tuned. They're coming probably this week. And you can sign up for those right on our Facebook page. For those that may not be familiar with the services that we offer, we've offered online learning through subscription. Level 1 focuses on companion animals, those animals that live with people in their homes, and we live stream. I did 2 live streams yesterday for level 1. We live stream how to train animals, how to change behavior. We have podcasts, monthly podcast, and our next podcast is going to be with a doctor from Harvard that specializes on anxiety. Okay, because right now we're talking about anxiety and stress and overstimulation. If we're talking about this in our memberships. If we're seeing animals that we are labeled as overstimulating, can this actually be stress, such as excessive barking, excessive screaming, pacing? So we're going to be bringing on Dr. Evelyn Gold from Harvard to talk about and dive deep into stress. She will be giving a podcast. She'll be recording a podcast with me in the middle of this month, and then she'll be joining me live in level 2 for a discussion. So if you are a level 2 member, pay attention because I'll be posting the date. Yes, Geek Week is coming up. That would be in less than 2 weeks. And I'm giving 2 presentations. And I have all my footage put together. And I'm just getting ready to put my presentations together. I work very good under stress. So I wait till the last minute. Then let's see what else. Oh, in the Parrot Project this week, this Wednesday, we have Dr. Jason Crean joining us, talking about cleansing and disinfecting for avian health and safety. Dr. Crean is an amazing man with an amazing mind. He's one that, just like Dr. Karen Becker, they have so much information up here that I'm just like, how do you keep that all contained in this 8-pound appendage? So I bring guests online through our memberships and our projects, talking about topics that I want to know more about. And cleansing and disinfecting is nothing short of important. Okay. Okay, so talking about our topic, keeping our animals used to change. It's extremely important. And it's one of the things when people say, what's the best piece of advice you can give to a person caring for an animal? And I will often say, keep your animal used to change. Okay. What does that mean? And why is that important? The same stagnant environments. Now, not having a changing environment does have its place, and remind me to talk about that. But a lot of times we get, well, I know for a fact, we get busy, okay? And when we're busy, it's inconvenient for us to think of ways to keep our animals' environment changing, whether that's a dog in our house, a bird in an enclosure, or a baboon in an enclosure. Doesn't matter. When we get busy, we tend to not keep their environments changing. And one of the biggest downfalls of that is the environment becomes very boring. Even worse is we have to, they'll start, there's lack of opportunity to learn. Okay. Animals learn from a changing environment. Keep your animals used to change. I do things on a daily basis where I have to make snap decisions. And they're decisions that I wasn't planning on. This was not planned in my day. When you're dealing with lives of animals, you have to be very versatile, because they are, we're talking about lives here. We're not talking about parts or products. When an animal's environment consistently changes, they have opportunities to learn. And to me, I crave change. It's one of many reasons why I do the work that I do. So when we have animals in environments that don't change, when life happens, when something happens and causes, it could be even a minor change in that animal's environment, that can cause a serious amount of unnecessary stress. Okay. And there's numerous different ways we can keep animals used to change. And let me show you one. Okay. I've got a video I'm getting ready to upload for you. Training. You're always training, whether you realize it or not. Even with your kids, even with your family members, you're always training is teaching. With teaching comes learning. Okay. And animals learn through training. The importance is, how are you training? If you're training using force and coercion, I suggest keep exploring your options. When we know better, we do better, right? If you're training using force and coercion, studies show that animals, including ourselves, learn faster from being reinforced for what to do versus being told what not to do. If I'm teaching an animal through consistently telling them what not to do, they are going to give me little effort. Okay. When I am training an animal using positive reinforcement, and positive reinforcers are so much more than food. We only use food as a reinforcers maybe 45% of the time. And this isn't just me talking. This is science. This is the science of behavior. And the science of behavior is my number one love that is shared with Rico. So this is the science of behavior. This is the laws of behavior, B.F. Skinner's laws of behavior. So when we stop educating ourselves, I'm constantly seeking more education, higher education. I have a very big thirst for knowledge, and I will listen to something or I will read something and then I will practice it. I will go do hands-on immediately because it helps sink in. It helps me with sinking in. Are you guys still there? Somebody make a comment. Or maybe everybody's just sitting here listening because I just see the feed just kind of slowed down. So we're always learning. Okay. So I wanted to show this video. This video, one of the keepers took the other day, and okay, thanks guys, thanks. One of the keepers took the other day. Hey, Diane. Somebody had said the ducks have moved to a different spot of the zoo and they couldn't get them. Daniela, that's a great question. She says, is there too much change? Please bring that up again. Because yeah, there could be a point where too much change is overstimulating or overpowering and the animal shuts down. That's exactly what you do not want. So remind me to talk about that here as we get moving. So these ducks were moved to a different spot, and they were worried about they were not eating their food. And I was like, hang on. Got an idea. This is behavior. A big change had happened, and these ducks are used to learning because we started teaching them back in April to do recalls. I started asking the trainers that work with me, Amanda and Lindsay, and I was like, let's get those ducks trained. Pull their food from their dishes and use it to teach new behaviors. And why did we do this? I love making connections with people and animals. You inspire a lot of people with this. And when people love to see animals trained, okay? Because there's this interaction between human and animal. And the importance in that interaction between human and animal is how that interaction is happening. And I like it to be most positive, least stressful. And so I just said, let's grab those food dishes and let's show these ducks where their new location is.
I'm taking video.
So we've trained these ducks to follow us and to come to us on cue. So here I am walking them down the path from next to their old enclosure, heading to their new enclosure. And these little waddle butts here in the back, they're not even getting any food. So what's their reinforcer? The ones in the front, I'm sprinkling just a couple of pieces of food. The ones in the back aren't getting any food. So what's the reinforcer for the ducks in the back to keep following? The reinforcer could be following the duck in front of them. So I'm paying attention to all these tiny little details. So in here, I'm trying to start putting it on cue. I'll say, let's go ducks, keep coming. Something I used to say with Sam all the time. Does that make sense? Okay, so here, yes, Adrienne, following the flock. Because depending on the species of animal you're working with, there's safety in numbers, there's comfort in numbers. So I will use that to get behavior that I need because I don't have to force the animal to do anything. The animal's doing it. So I'm identifying the leaders in the beginning and I'll start throwing out food, which is a lure. Okay. A lure is showing animals the reinforcer without understanding the contingency of what behavior. Okay. Does that make sense? You show food and the animals will follow the food versus paying attention to what cues you are requesting to get behavior. That's the fallout of using lures. But usually when I use a lure, I will quickly fade it out. Okay. Yes. Diane says excellent and easy to do with positive reinforcement. There are several reasons I use positive reinforcement and applied behavior analysis in teaching animals. One is because I like to see animals thrive and I like to give them choice in their environment. Another one is I don't want to work that hard. I don't need to be chasing any pigs to round them up. I don't want to be pushing any animals to force them to go where I want them to go because we know there are several serious side effects of using force to control behavior. I don't want to see any of them. All right. Nancy Forrester, you have a rainbow of topics to share with us in the near future. Looking forward to all of them. I have a thirst for learning too. Yes. That's why, Nancy, when I come down there to Key West and visit you, one of the highlights of my visits are just sitting at the table in your backyard and just bouncing ideas off of you. I love listening to you talk because you have a lot of information and you have a lot of experience, that I just soak that up like a sponge. Okay, so back to keeping your animals used to change. Yeah, it helps prevent stress. Now, Daniela was saying earlier, is there a time where there's too much change? Yes. Yes. And this is where the importance is: pay attention to the specifics, be specific. Most important, pay attention to the individual. I heard this on a podcast once. I listened to a lot of ABA podcasts. I heard this on a podcast once and I was like, bingo, brilliant, beautiful, bam. Okay. Because a lot of times people will be like, oh, I've had a Rottweiler before, I know how to do this. Well, what the hell does that mean? Or I've owned horses before, I know how to do this. I'll look at them like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to stay far away from whatever's getting ready to come out of your mouth. So in the podcast, it said, this was so beautiful, and I think I've even written about it a couple times. So say I'm a teacher. Well, I am a teacher. Okay, say I'm a first grade teacher. Okay, and I have a girl named Sarah in my class. The next year, she moves on to second grade, and then my new first grade comes in, and I have a girl named Sarah in my class. I'm not going to assume this Sarah is like that Sarah because they're both named Sarah. These are two completely, totally different individuals. They're both people. They're both named Sarah. They both have families, but they both lead very individual lives and come to my first grade class with their own unique history of reinforcement. So, that's why it's important to be careful when somebody says something like, oh, I know birds. Okay. We've had people come to volunteer at our center and they're like, oh, I know birds really well. I've got 30 years of experience. And I'll be like, next. Next. And I'll be more interested in the person that comes up and says, I don't know birds at all. I've never even held one, but I'm very interested in learning. I will be like, you come with me. Let me shape your mind. So keeping animals used to change. We do this in our training. Okay. This happened the other day. This is a very young, well, I don't know. She's probably 7 months by now. Eurasian eagle owl. And she looks very small in this photo, which she is not. I'm showing my progress with her and my training with her in our level 2 membership. I'm showing every single step of the way on how we identify reinforcers. What does motivation look like? Okay, why aren't we getting it? And how do we get it? And then I've showed every single step of the way and all the hurdles we have had with her, which have been numerous. I'm just like, all right, who does not like me? So with her, we're constantly keeping her used to change because you know what's getting ready to happen? We are this close to bringing her out of her enclosure and start walking her around the zoo. If she is not, her name is Tawny. She's a Eurasian eagle owl. If she is not used to change, so here I'm showing, I put anklets on her last week. Holy moly. That's the wind. We put anklets on her last week, and here she is yesterday, allowing me to thread jesses through her anklets. My hands, her feet are almost as big as my hand. Okay. Her talons are approximately 1.5, 2 inches long. Okay. My hands are going behind, I'm like lifting up her feathers behind her feet. And so I can see her anklets, so I can see the hole in her anklet. And then I got to take that Jess and I got to thread it through. And then I go to the other side and then I tug and I pull till that thread goes through that anklet and stops at that knot. And then you see the Jess is hanging down below. Today I'm going to go in with her, stick a swivel on the end of those Jesses. And then I'm going to call her to the glove. And then I'm going to put a lead on. And then I'm taking her out. Okay? I'm taking her out of her enclosure. If I don't have her used to change, taking her out of her enclosure is going to freak her out. And she's probably going to bait, which means they're standing on their glove and she's going to go shoot to fly. She's going to hit the end of that lead and then it's going to stop her and she's going to fall. And then she hangs underneath the glove. And then you got to swoop down and pick them back up, which I have never had. That's called a bait. I have never had a raptor bait from my glove on purpose. Okay, because I don't want to push them to that point of stress. And we were just talking about this in our monthly Q&A the other day in level 1, where taking too big of steps in our training plans, that's what a bait is. Or a bait is a result of just not caring. I care about the animals I'm working with, and it shows in my work. When I watch a person present an animal, it is extremely obvious if they care or if they don't care. And when they don't care, that turns my stomach. What are you in this for? Obviously, not the animal. And that shows. And to me, that is a huge turnoff. I was going to say I'd rather do the, never mind. That is a huge turnoff. In whatever business you're representing, I will not have any part of it. Okay? I'm very serious about the work I do. Hey, Shannon. She says she cannot wait for her first day as a volunteer on Wednesday. I'm so ready to soak up all the knowledge. Shannon, we're looking forward to having you. Shannon's going to be a new volunteer here at the Animal Behavior Center. The Animal Behavior Center is primarily run on volunteers and speaking about change and identifying reinforcers. Some of the volunteers at the Animal Behavior Center have been with us going on 9 years. Why? Why? When you can answer the why, you've identified the reinforcer. And some of them are on here. Why? Why would be the education they get, the fun we have. We have a lot of fun at the center. We laugh. We cut up. I'm a very sarcastic person, and I love to have fun. And if I'm not having fun, fun comes in many forms, I'm not going to do things anymore. Well, I will. They'll just be different ones that I have fun with. So we have a lot of fun. It's the education. Those are all, when you can answer a why, you've identified reinforcers. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Leslie. So keeping your animals used to change. Watch, we're getting ready to bring Tawny out of her cage. Probably not going to happen today, but it's going to happen this week. Okay. I don't want to push her past her comfort level. You can overwhelm animals with change. So Daniela, to answer your question, yes. If I were to say she jumped on my glove right now, I could easily put a lead on her right now, this morning, my first interaction with her. I could easily put a lead on her and take her out. But she's going to come out and she's going to look at these animals on both sides of her in the exhibit and probably freak out because she's never seen them before. Even though she's been housed next to them for a couple months, she's never seen them before. So yes, you can overstimulate, cause fear, With fear comes behaviors labeled as aggressive. I do not need to be footed by this beautiful girl, okay? Because she has accidentally stepped off of the glove and onto my arm, and I just sit there and look like, okay, don't twitch muscles, because it's instinctual for raptors when they feel movement, go like this. And I've seen them squeeze the life out of animals because they're squeezing them so tight they can't breathe. Okay. I don't want to push her past that comfort level. And once I do, then she's learned it. Now I have to counter condition it. And that is a lot of work, unnecessary work, causing unnecessary stress, and work that I don't have time to be counter conditioning at this point, even though I am. All right. So keep your animals used to change. Here's something else that happened this week, and I think this is fabulous. Nothing short of fabulous. Studies show that one of the most complex form of enrichment is social interaction, whether that's with the same species, whether that's with a different species. So, this past week, Dr. Jason Crean was here, and we have 2 bearded dragons, okay? And we're looking at making things flow a lot smoother here. And how do we do that? Numerous different ways, which we've been implementing them. And one is, Jason was like, I was like, we have 2 different bearded dragons here, okay? One's on exhibit, one's not. And Jason goes, why don't you put them together? I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I would love to put them together. I would love to put them together because that is, like I said, socialization is the most complex form of enrichment. Okay. So they can provide enrichment for each other. Not that I don't have to stop providing enrichment, but that social interaction is one of the most complex forms. I see it. I see it with animals that are housed together. Okay. Especially with social creatures that live in flocks or live in groups. When they're separated in different enclosures, that can bring so much stress to an animal. So, just like dogs, not just like dogs, but similar to dogs, what we did is like, all right, one of the keepers asked me, so do we just take the one that's off exhibit and put it in the enclosure of the one that's on exhibit? And I was just like, I wouldn't suggest that, because we wanted to introduce them in neutral territory. So we went and got a big tank, big aquarium, put a towel down. I even took photos and videos of it. Put a towel down and put both the bearded dragons in there. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of the people just came in. Put both of the bearded dragons in the aquarium and introduced them to each other. And then I was informed of what aggression looks like, or what signs can happen, signs of aggression, because I was just like, I really wanted this to work for them. So we put them in there, and the one ran up to the other one and just started licking it. And I was just like, what does that mean? What does that mean? This is behavior happening. What's that mean? So here I am standing next to the aquarium, probably causing stress. So Jason's like, well, I'm probably not going to do much with you standing right there. And I was like, oh, okay. So I backed up, and I'm ready to pounce in case I just didn't want them hurting each other. But what happened? So we saw them there hanging out with each other all day, and then we put them in their enclosure, in their exhibit. It is the exhibit of the one on the left. The one on the right on this rock is the one that was added. And checked on them every day. Put a call out to all the keepers that the beardies are together every time you walk by, which they do. Would you please keep an eye on them and yell at me if you see anything of concern? So we had about 10 people watching them that day. And I checked on them numerous times that week. And here, hey, this is what I saw the other day. So I loved it. All right, move on to more. Nancy Delaney, hey, how are you? Come see the lemurs. Nancy says, how do you de-stress an animal when you realize they are over their comfort line? Great question. Great question. And there's probably numerous different ways you can do this. And Diane Garrett is a fabulous dog trainer, and she's on here. Nancy, watch Coffee with the Critters from 2 weeks ago, because she deals with stress in dogs. So how do you de-stress an animal when you realize they're past their comfort level? They're overstimulated. They're shutting down. What I would do is put them back in an environment where you know you can get comfort, and start there. Then you start shaping change there. Okay. What I will do is take an animal and put them back where they were showing signs of comfort. Okay. And give them time. And if you can, start interacting to de-stress, and then you slowly shape change. You can do that through training and, using positive reinforcement. This is where it's extremely important, the understanding positive reinforcement, because with a stressed animal, you do not want to use force. You can if you don't care, but if you care, you do not want to use force, because a lot of times using force with a stressed animal will reinforce undesired behavior. And then it's paired with you. And then soon you become the cue for the animal to start tensing up, because you've paired yourself with using stress or using force. So, Nancy, take the animal back to the area where it was comfortable. It may take it some time to de-stress. You can start incorporating things immediately to de-stress, and then you slowly shape what is it that was stressing that animal out. You have to identify reinforcers for the undesired behavior. Hey, Daphne, another awesome dog trainer. Identify the reinforcers for the stress, and then you start counter conditioning, which means retraining and desensitization. Okay. So for example, when we talk about this in level 1, if you have a reactive animal, an animal that is screaming or barking excessively, due to a loud noise. Hey, Samantha, there's another amazing mind. For example, if you're working with an animal that's overstressed due to a sound, okay, eliminate the sound immediately. Or you wait till you see what happens if you don't. I don't want to see what happens. So then you can eliminate the sound and start incorporating, especially if these sounds have to be involved in the animal's life. We need to figure out a way for them to be comfortable with them. A lot of times, like, I'll download apps on my phone of different sounds, and I will play it at a level 1, really low. Okay. Play the sound, bridge, deliver reinforcer. Play the sound, bridge, deliver reinforcer. And you don't move to level 2 until that sound, soon, because that sound is paired with the positive reinforcer. It's called conditioned reinforcers. When Pavlov's dog, when the sound becomes the cue, and you'll see, like, you play the sound and the dog looks at you and waits for a treat. Okay. Conditioned reinforcers. Make sense? Okay. So something else, what's important in keeping your animals used to change. So we have 6 adult macaws. Each, they're bonded with another macaw. Okay. They're housed together. So here is this is Boomer. He'll nail you in a heartbeat. And with what you're seeing in this video, or this photo, is he's on a block, and that block is on a scale. And we successfully got a weight on Boomer the other day without the use of force, without the use of, I saw no signs of stress. We paired it with positive reinforcement. We got him on the scale. We got a weight. You'll see the stick we asked him to step up with on the back. And so when you're picking up an animal with a stick, Okay, there's probably numerous different type of animals you can pick up with a stick. So it's off contact training, because just contact can be a stressor to an animal. So many times I see people petting animals. I'm like, don't pet the animal. And they're like, why? I was like, because it's a stressor. The animal doesn't want to be pet. But people have this need to want to touch everything. So you'll see we picked the bird up with the stick, and I am on this side delivering positive reinforcers as fast as possible and luring to get on the block. And here's things to pay attention to. Okay. I said, keep that stick as stable as possible. And it's hard when you're holding a 2-pound animal, 8-pound animal, and you're holding it like this, and pretty soon your hands start shaking. Because if you knock that animal off balance, guess what? It's paired with a stick. Guess what? It's paired with you. Conditioned punishers, conditioned aversives. All right. Pretty soon the stick is a cue to lunge. You, the sight of you is a cue to lunge. So then you want that animal to be as stable as possible. We don't like being knocked off balance. Somebody comes up to me and keeps pushing me and knocking me off balance. Okay, that's my stick. I'm going to take it maybe twice before you see one of the consequences of using force to control behavior. Bam! All right, that's one of the main consequences is increased aggression. All right. So the second thing, I was like, watch its tail. Do not touch its tail with the stick, because you get the bird to step up. A lot of times people just pull the stick away like this. Well, what's happening is you pull the stick away, it's hitting that bird's tail, it's knocking it off balance, and it's paired with you. Ta-da! So does that all make sense? In this, we got an accurate weight on Boomer, and boom, no use of force. Boom, using positive reinforcers. Could I have forced him? Yes, I could have towed him, thrown him in the tub, put a lid on the tub, put the tub on the scale, zero out the scale, have him flailing about, and then when I'm done, open the tub, which I don't want to be there, and throw him back in his cage. Yeah, I could get a weight that way. Don't have to, because I know better. I know how to do better. We have a couple of animals in the other room right now that are hands off. The sight of humans is a stressor. I need to get these animals on a scale. How am I going to do that? What I've done is I've identified reinforcers. I go in there and hold up a mouse like this. Doo, 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 doo. I'll see them like looking at me like, how do I get to that mouse? I'm like, I'll show you how you get to this mouse. Throw it on a scale. Boom. On a scale. Bam. Read. Grabs mouse. Boom. Up on off the scale. Perfect. No use of force. Bam. Paired myself with positive reinforcer. Okay. No signs of stress from Boomer. And guess who's getting on the scale again today? Boomer. Holy moly. Kim says, hey there, moving to Vietnam soon. Kim, you move all the time. Can't take the pup though, so he's going to stay with my son again, where he's not going to be top dog anymore. How can I ease this transition? Start it now. Start it now. Get the dog foraging for its food. Start training it. Slowly get it used to change. Okay? Because a big change. All right? Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this right now. There are 2 podcasts in our memberships called, it's a lot of wind, calling Preparing Our Animals for the Holidays. It was so important. I made episode number 1, episode number 2. Okay? The holidays are here. Thanksgiving is coming. Okay? So many people get so stressed over people coming. I can see you guys.
You still doing coffee?
I am still doing
I was
coffee.
trying to do funny faces in the mirror, but you were too busy talking in there, so you couldn't see. Or in the window.
Oh, so I love working here on weekends because people are so much fun. So where is it going? Oh, holidays. So many people are like, they throw dogs in crates, throw birds in cages during the holidays because the animals aren't used to change. And having your whole family in your house is a big change. I'm okay with that as long as you leave. Don't stay and wear out your welcome. But you start that training now. You start shaping change, keep incorporating change into the animal's environment. And then you slowly, like with my dogs, I was just like, taking them over to my sister's house, taking them in the sister's backyard, stay the night at my sister's, stay 5 hours at my sister's. So one time I stay the night at my sister's. Next time you stay the night without me. I come pick you up the next morning. So that way I know the animal's not stressed when I'm not there. Okay, I got a couple more photos. Oh, shoot, and a video. Better get cruising. Keep your animals used to change, okay? Keep them used to change. So here's an animal I was working in it with that showed signs of a stagnant environment, and I still can't pick this bird up. I don't have to. I want to. I want to if Coco wants it. Coco does. I think Coco would really love it. So that's how I keep on plugging forward. Hey, Amanda.
Hi. I just want to know if you fed Jelly Bean.
I fed Jelly Bean and I medicated her.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't need to.
Yep, and she got her wax worms this morning too.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, lady. Hey, sorry. Also, Brian fed the hornbills.
Okay.
And asked them not to feed them the mice because
that's fine. I've been doing it. Yeah.
Let's work together with them. Sound good?
Sounds
just because I really need them on a scale.
Yeah. No.
And then, so the hyacinths have had their breakfast as well.
Awesome. I was gonna go make them some enrichment. Also, we have a lemur coming today. And it is cold.
At 10:30?
At 1:30.
That's better.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be like in the 40s all day with precipitation.
Okay, I get an idea.
Awesome, because they're not really interested in being outside when it's this
cold. Okay.
Okay.
We'll work on it.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. Yeah. Okay, so focus. Because Coco wasn't used to change, if something happened out of the ordinary in wherever in his environment, he would freak out and show all these abnormal repetitive behaviors that just drove my anxiety through the roof, which was, those of you know that Coco, he will take his neck and crank it so hard that he makes this sound, okay? And he will do that over and like real fast over. And when he does it, there's a scream that comes and he's got to hit 3 cage bars. Abnormal, repetitive behaviors. A lot of abnormal, repetitive behaviors arrive out of stress. Lack of enrichment is stress, guys. Lack of enrichment is stress. And what you will see develop are abnormal, repetitive behaviors. And this does not need to be. Okay? I see animals in unenriched environments. I get very angry. So we started incorporating foraging. Foraging is an excellent way to get animals used to change. Okay? Holy cow. These are behaviors that need to be shaped. A lot of times. Sometimes animals know how to forage. So we can shape change, and we can shape, sometimes adding enrichment to an animal that's not used to in an enriched environment or environment that changes. Adding a piece of enrichment can be a serious stressor to the animal. You have to know and be able to identify signs of stress. And if you don't know them, you can learn them, and you learn them through training. You're training anyways, What are you teaching? Okay. When I walk in a room, I want animals running to me. I don't want to walk into a room and see animals scattering from me. That's a sign. If I see that, you don't have to tell me how you interact with the animal. I already know because the animal just told me. Kim says, sharing this video everywhere. Thank you for, yes, you are very welcome, Kim. Have a safe transition to Vietnam. So we can incorporate. Coco thrives on this training. And here I am complete off contact training with him. I am asking him to step up onto a dowel, which is something he used to scream at. That tells me this was a form of communication with the animal. And it's usually, I could tell it was force. He would scream and run away from a dowel as soon as possible. So I couldn't even touch him. So I'm delivering positive reinforcer via a spoon because that physical contact, if I were to, even now, if I were to go, I can hand him treats to the cage bars and he takes them very nicely. If I go in and hand him without a cage bar between us, that could be because I wouldn't do it. Because I do this and he's like, what does this mean? Bam, he'll nail me. Guarantee you. You know why? Because I haven't taught him what this means yet. Okay? Yes, Cornelius, lack of change is stress. Yes. Yeah. Watch those abnormal repetitive behaviors. If you don't know what you're seeing, if you're caring for an animal, it is your responsibility to do better. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. Kind of. Okay, so Coco, scared of sticks. Okay, we couldn't, if we picked up a broom in the room, he would start screaming. Okay, so we shaped this behavior, and this is Lindsay Douglas because we've taught him. Okay, we shaped it. We took small steps, and we did this all in the Parrot Project, which is my online live streaming for birds, for parrots. So this is a picture I took yesterday or last week of Lindsay in the enclosure with Coco, sweeping it while he's in it. And if you don't know what calm body language looks like from a bird or from Coco, train it, because that right there is a very comfortable bird. Thank you. I think I got just a couple more and then a video, and I'm got in my live stream in a minute. So I train numerous different animals, and we train them to accept medication. We train them to accept vet visits, because if we don't, vet visits have to happen, and I want to force a vet visit on an animal. If I do, holy moly, I don't want to work that hard. I also, it doesn't have to be, the animal doesn't have to be stressed. So when Rocky came to us, he would attack syringes. Calm behavior, not tight feathers. Eyes aren't wide open and beak isn't in defense. Okay. Thanks. It's going to rain. Here is an enrichment item we made for one of the spider monkeys last week. The first time we gave him a piece of enrichment, he flipped out and screamed and ran to the top of the cage. I was like, whoa, pull it out, we got to shape this. Okay. That was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Now look at him. Bam, going to town. So we're not making it easy for him. We're watching how he uses his fingers and his feet and how he manipulates the object. So what he's doing, he's starting to bite it. What is he doing? He's figuring it out. Okay? He's figuring it out. This gives him something to do. And this keeps him engaged. People love watching this stuff. People love watching this stuff. People want to see happy, interactive animals. And that is what I'll show you. And if you have, Shannon says, as a vet tech in training, I can appreciate the training y'all do to make vet visits easier for everyone involved. Thank you, Shannon. I appreciate that coming from a vet tech. Okay. If you've liked the information you have received on this live stream today, this is what we do weekly in our level 1 membership program for people with companion animals, including in our level 2. Level 2 includes weekly live streaming. We're live streaming with the owl right now. We're live streaming. We have the doctor from Harvard coming on in a couple weeks talking about anxiety. Your membership also includes monthly podcasts, which we get great reviews for. We get people joining level 1 just to listen to the podcast. We have monthly Q&As, all kinds of stuff. Also, there's a podcast. Our podcasts are extremely popular. I record them once a month, every month, and people are usually patiently waiting for them. We also have species specific. So sometimes people don't want to listen to just how behavior works. People want to know how it works with deaf dogs, how it works with pigs, how it works with parrots. We do that in our projects. We also have our webinars that are for sale on our website. We have them on different topics such as creative aviaries. We have them on species specific, addressing aggression. We have them on behavior in general, okay? Understanding behavior. And with that, I want to say thank you for attending. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. If you have watched this whole live stream, I appreciate you, because that means when you know better, you do better, and we're all learning from each other. Thank you. Happy November. Enjoy your day.